Every single day, 60 million Americans wake up with joint pain. Not mild stiffness, but actual pain. The kind that makes you grip the banister going downstairs. The kind that turns opening a jar into a two-handed operation. And here's what almost nobody realizes. In 70% of those cases, the inflammation driving that pain is being fed by the very foods you think are helping you. Foods you bought specifically for your health. Foods you prepared carefully in your own kitchen, but you cooked them wrong, and that mistake is keeping you in pain. I'm going to tell you exactly how 5 of the most powerful anti-inflammatory foods on earth lose their healing properties the moment most people start cooking them. And I'm going to show you the precise method that preserves, and in some cases multiplies, their anti-inflammatory power. This is not complicated. This is not expensive. But your next doctor's appointment will not cover any of this because there is no billing code for teaching you how to cook. Subscribe to Dr. Waterling right now and hit that like button. We're working toward 1,000 subscribers, and we're building this channel on one principle. The system makes money when you stay sick, not when you get better. Every video on this channel exists to give you back control over your own biology. Now, before we get to the foods, I need you to understand what inflammation actually is and why it matters so desperately to anyone over 50. Inflammation is your immune system's response to injury or infection. When you cut your finger, the area swells, turns red, feels warm. That's acute inflammation. It's protective. It heals the wound. That inflammation disappears when healing completes. That is normal and necessary. But chronic inflammation is completely different. Chronic inflammation is when your immune system stays activated for months or years, attacking your own tissues as if they were foreign invaders. This creates a state of constant low-level tissue damage throughout your body. Your joints deteriorate, your arteries accumulate plaque, your brain experiences accelerated aging, your risk of developing diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer's disease, and cancer increases dramatically with every year that chronic inflammation continues. Here's what makes this so dangerous after age 50. Your body's natural anti-inflammatory regulation systems weaken with age. The same inflammatory trigger that your body would have resolved in 3 days at age 30 now persists for 3 weeks at age 60. And if you keep feeding that inflammation with the wrong foods prepared the wrong way, it never resolves. It accumulates, it compounds, and eventually it converts into degenerative disease. The overwhelming majority of people over 50 are walking around right now with elevated inflammatory markers in their bloodstream, and they have absolutely no idea. No pain, no obvious symptoms, just silent tissue damage occurring every single day. By the time symptoms appear, the inflammation has usually been running for 5 to 10 years. At that point, you're not preventing disease. You're trying to reverse established damage, and that is infinitely harder. Now here's where conventional medicine fails you completely. When you go to your doctor complaining of joint pain, inflammation, or any inflammatory condition, what do you get? Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs, ibuprofen, naproxen. These medications do not address the cause of inflammation. They suppress the symptoms while you continue eating and living in ways that perpetuate the underlying problem. And those medications come with serious side effects: stomach ulcers, kidney damage, increased cardiovascular risk. The longer you take them, the higher those risks climb. Nobody in that clinic waiting room is going to sit down with you and explain how the turmeric you're buying, the ginger you're chopping, the garlic you're crushing, and the tomatoes you're cooking are either healing you or hurting you, depending entirely on how you prepare them. There is no profit in that conversation. The pharmaceutical companies that manufacture anti-inflammatory drugs have no financial incentive for you to learn that food preparation methods determine inflammatory response. Let me give you a real example. Margaret, 64 years old, came to my office with severe osteoarthritis in both knees. She had been taking ibuprofen daily for 2 years. Her gastroenterologist had recently diagnosed her with a gastric ulcer, a direct consequence of chronic NSAID use. She was facing knee replacement surgery within the year. Margaret told me she had already changed her diet. She was eating salmon 3 times per week, using turmeric in her cooking, consuming tomatoes and garlic regularly. all anti-inflammatory foods, and yet her inflammation markers were still elevated and her pain was getting worse. When I asked her how she was preparing these foods, everything became clear. She was overcooking her salmon until it was dry and gray. She was adding turmeric to boiling water. She was cooking her tomatoes without any fat. She was crushing her garlic and immediately throwing it into hot oil. Every single anti-inflammatory food she was eating was being prepared in a way that destroyed or severely diminished its therapeutic compounds. She was doing everything right according to general dietary advice, but the execution was eliminating the benefit. I gave Margaret specific preparation protocols for each food. Within 3 weeks, her pain had decreased noticeably. Within 2 months, her inflammatory markers had dropped by 40%. Within 6 months, she had discontinued the ibuprofen completely, and her gastric ulcer had healed. She never had the knee surgery. Her knees still have arthritis. The joint damage that occurred over decades did not disappear, but the active inflammation stopped. The pain became manageable, and her quality of life was restored, all because she learned how to cook the same foods differently. Now, the 5 foods. Let's start with turmeric because this is the one people get wrong most consistently. Turmeric contains a compound called curcumin. Curcumin is one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory agents ever studied. Multiple clinical trials have shown it reduces inflammatory markers as effectively as pharmaceutical anti-inflammatory drugs, without the side effects. But here's the problem. Curcumin has extremely poor bioavailability. Your digestive system barely absorbs it. Most of it passes straight through your body unused. Here's how people destroy turmeric's anti-inflammatory power. They add turmeric powder to boiling water for tea. Heat above 180 degrees Fahrenheit degrades curcumin. They use turmeric without any fat. Curcumin is fat-soluble. Without fat present during digestion, absorption is nearly zero. They use turmeric without black pepper. Black pepper contains piperine, a compound that increases curcumin absorption by 2,000%, not 20%, 2,000%, and they use turmeric that has been sitting in their spice cabinet for 2 years. Curcumin degrades over time, especially when exposed to light and air. Here is the correct preparation method. Use fresh turmeric root when possible. If using powder, buy small quantities, store in an airtight container in a dark cabinet, and replace every 3 months. Never add turmeric to boiling liquid. Keep cooking temperatures below 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Always combine turmeric with fat. A teaspoon of coconut oil, olive oil, or ghee. Always add black pepper. A 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper is sufficient. The combination of fat and piperine transforms turmeric from a compound your body mostly wastes into one it actually absorbs and utilizes. Here's your exact protocol. Take 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder or 1 tablespoon of grated fresh turmeric root. Add 1 teaspoon of coconut oil or olive oil. Add 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper. Mix these 3 ingredients into a paste. You can add this paste to warm, not boiling milk. You can stir it into cooked rice or quinoa after removing from heat. You can blend it into a smoothie. You can spread it on toast. The key is the combination of turmeric, fat, and black pepper consumed together. If you want to make a therapeutic turmeric drink, here's the method. Heat 250 milliliters of milk, dairy, or plant-based to approximately 150 degrees Fahrenheit. It should be hot but not boiling. Remove from heat. Add the turmeric fat pepper paste. Stir thoroughly. Add a small amount of honey if desired. Consume immediately. Do this once per day, preferably in the evening. Within 1 week, you should notice reduced morning stiffness. Within 2 weeks, joint pain during movement should decrease noticeably. Second food, garlic. Garlic contains allicin, a sulfur compound with powerful anti-inflammatory and immune-supporting properties. But allicin does not exist in intact garlic. It only forms when garlic is crushed or chopped and the enzyme allicin comes into contact with the compound allicin. This reaction requires time and it requires specific conditions. Here's how people destroy garlic's therapeutic power. They crush garlic and immediately add it to hot oil. High heat deactivates allicin instantly. The allicin never forms. They swallow whole garlic cloves thinking this provides benefit. It doesn't. Without crushing, the allicin forming reaction never occurs. Here is the correct method. Peel your garlic cloves. Crush them with the flat side of a knife or press them through a garlic press. Then stop. Do nothing for 10 minutes. Just let the crushed garlic sit at room temperature. During those 10 minutes, the enzymatic reaction occurs. Allicin forms and stabilizes. After 10 minutes, you can cook with it. Even if you add it to hot food at that point, the allicin has already formed and much of it will survive the cooking process. Your exact garlic protocol. Every day, crush 2 to 3 cloves of fresh garlic. Let sit for 10 minutes. Add to your food after cooking or cook at low to medium heat. Never high heat. You can add it to salad dressing. You can stir it into soup after removing from heat. You can spread it on toast with olive oil. The key is the 10-minute waiting period after crushing. That waiting period is not optional. That is when the medicine forms. Third food, tomatoes. Tomatoes contain lycopene, a carotenoid with extraordinary anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Lycopene has been shown to reduce cardiovascular inflammation, lower cancer risk, and protect against age-related macular degeneration. Now here's the interesting thing about tomatoes. Unlike most vegetables, cooking tomatoes actually increases lycopene bioavailability. Heat breaks down the cell walls and makes the lycopene more accessible. But there's a critical requirement. Lycopene is fat-soluble. Without fat present, your body cannot absorb it. Here's how people waste tomatoes' anti-inflammatory power. They eat raw tomatoes with no fat. They cook tomatoes in water-based sauces with no oil. They use canned tomatoes packed in water instead of olive oil. All of these methods provide minimal lycopene absorption. Your body needs fat to extract and transport lycopene from your digestive system into your bloodstream. Here is the correct preparation. Cook tomatoes with olive oil. The combination of heat and fat maximizes lycopene release and absorption. If you're making tomato sauce, use a generous amount of olive oil. If you're roasting tomatoes, coat them in olive oil before roasting. If you're eating raw tomatoes in a salad, dress them with olive oil. The ratio matters. For every 200 grams of tomatoes, use at least 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Your exact tomato protocol. 3 times per week, prepare cooked tomatoes with olive oil. Cut 4 medium tomatoes into quarters. Toss with 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Add crushed garlic that is rested for 10 minutes. Add dried oregano and basil. Roast at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 to 30 minutes until soft and slightly caramelized. You can eat these as a side dish. You can blend them into sauce. You can add them to eggs. The combination of cooked tomatoes, olive oil, and garlic creates a powerfully anti-inflammatory food that your body can actually utilize. Fourth food, ginger. Ginger contains gingerols and shogales, compounds with potent anti-inflammatory effects. These compounds inhibit the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines and reduce oxidative stress. But heat transforms gingerols into shogals, and the two compounds have different properties. Gingerols are more effective for digestive inflammation. Shogals are more effective for pain relief and systemic inflammation. The way you prepare ginger determines which compounds dominate. Here's how people misuse ginger. They buy pre-ground ginger powder that has been sitting on a shelf for months or years. The active compounds degrade significantly over time. They add fresh ginger to boiling water and boil it for 20 minutes, which converts most gingerols to shogals. This isn't necessarily wrong, but if you want the digestive benefits of gingerols, this method eliminates them. They use such small amounts that therapeutic effect is impossible. A tiny slice in your tea provides negligible benefit. Here is the correct approach. For digestive inflammation, use fresh ginger, not powder. Grate or finely chop 1 tablespoon of fresh ginger root. Add to warm, not boiling water, 150 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Steep for 5 to 7 minutes. This preserves gingerols while extracting them into the water. Drink this 20 to 30 minutes before meals to reduce digestive inflammation. For joint pain and systemic inflammation, you want to convert gingerols to shogals through heat. Slice 2 tablespoons of fresh ginger, add to water and bring to a boil. Reduce heat and simmer for 15 to 20 minutes. This creates a shogal-rich preparation more effective for pain relief. Consume this once per day, preferably in the evening. You can also use dried ginger powder for systemic inflammation, but only if it's fresh. Buy organic ginger powder in small quantities. Store in an airtight container in a dark cabinet. Replace every 2 months. Use 1 teaspoon per day, mixed into warm milk with black pepper and a small amount of fat. The preparation method is similar to turmeric. Fifth food. Omega-3 rich fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines. These fish contain EPA and DHA, omega-3 fatty acids that are among the most powerful anti-inflammatory nutrients available. They reduce inflammatory cytokines, lower triglycerides, improve arterial function, and protect brain health. But omega-3 fatty acids are extremely fragile. High heat oxidizes them, converting them from anti-inflammatory to pro-inflammatory compounds. Here's how people destroy omega-3s. They cook fish at high temperatures, 400 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. They grill or pan-fry fish until it develops a dark crust. They overcook fish until it's dry and flaky. All of these methods oxidize the omega-3 fatty acids. You're still getting protein, you're still getting some minerals, but the anti-inflammatory compounds you bought the fish for are largely destroyed. Here's the correct method. Cook fish at low to moderate temperature, 275 to 325 degrees Fahrenheit maximum. Cook just until the fish is opaque and flakes easily. Do not overcook. The center should still be slightly translucent when you remove it from heat. It will continue cooking from residual heat. Baking, poaching, and steaming are the best methods. These keep temperatures controlled and preserve moisture. Your exact fish protocol. Twice per week, prepare omega-3 rich fish using gentle heat. Take 1 salmon fillet, approximately 150 grams, place in a baking dish, drizzle with 1 tablespoon of olive oil, add lemon slices, fresh dill, and crushed garlic that has rested 10 minutes. Cover the dish with foil to trap moisture. Bake at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for 18 to 22 minutes. The fish should be just cooked through, still moist, never dry. Serve with the roasted tomatoes I described earlier. This single meal combines multiple anti-inflammatory foods prepared correctly. Now let me give you the complete 10-day anti-inflammatory protocol. This is how you organize these 5 foods into a structured plan that produces measurable inflammation reduction in 10 days. This is not a diet. This is a targeted therapeutic intervention using food as medicine. Days 1 through 10 every morning. Upon waking, drink 1 glass of warm water with the juice of half a lemon. This supports liver function and helps clear inflammatory metabolites that accumulated overnight. 30 minutes later, prepare the ginger digestive tea using fresh grated ginger in warm water. Drink this before breakfast. Breakfast options rotate through the week. Option 1. Oatmeal prepared with anti-inflammatory additions. Cook half a cup of rolled oats in water or milk. After removing from heat, add the turmeric fat pepper paste, a handful of blueberries, and 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed. Option 2. Scrambled eggs with the roasted tomato and garlic preparation stirred in. Option 3. Greek yogurt with fresh berries, walnuts, and a drizzle of honey. Lunch every day. Large salad with dark leafy greens, cucumber, bell peppers, shredded carrots, and chickpeas or white beans. Dress with olive oil, lemon juice, crushed garlic that has rested 10 minutes, and a pinch of turmeric and black pepper mixed into the dressing. Add a palm-sized portion of protein. Grilled chicken prepared at moderate temperature or canned sardines or hard-boiled eggs. Dinner, rotate these options. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Baked salmon prepared according to the protocol I described, served with roasted vegetables tossed in olive oil and the roasted tomato preparation on the side. Tuesday, Thursday. Chicken or turkey breast baked at 325 degrees with turmeric, ginger, and garlic, served with quinoa and steamed broccoli, finished with olive oil. Saturday, Sunday. Bean-based meal. Lentil soup with tomatoes, garlic, ginger, and turmeric, or chickpea curry prepared with coconut milk, turmeric, and fresh ginger. Every evening, 1 hour before bed. Prepare the turmeric golden milk I described. Warm milk with turmeric fat pepper paste. This supports overnight anti-inflammatory processes and improves sleep quality, which is itself anti-inflammatory. Throughout the day, drink green tea, 2 to 3 cups. Green tea contains EGCG, another powerful anti-inflammatory compound. Steep at 175 degrees Fahrenheit, not boiling, for 3 to 4 minutes. Now, the foods you must eliminate during these 10 days. Refined sugar in all forms. Sugar directly triggers inflammatory pathways. Processed vegetable oils, soybean oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil. These are high in omega-6 fatty acids that promote inflammation when consumed in excess. Fried foods, the combination of high heat and oxidized oils creates highly inflammatory compounds. Processed meats, bacon, sausage, deli meats. These contain preservatives and inflammatory fats. Alcohol. Even moderate alcohol consumption increases inflammatory markers. What to expect during these 10 days? Days 1 through 3, you may not notice much change. Your body is beginning to shift its inflammatory balance, but accumulated inflammation takes time to clear. Days 4 through 7, most people report reduced morning stiffness, improved energy in the afternoon, and better sleep quality. Days 8 through 10, joint pain during movement should decrease noticeably. Digestive function typically improves. Skin often becomes clearer. Mental fog lifts. These are not placebo effects. These are measurable physiological changes. If you were to check inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein at the beginning and end of this protocol, you would see objective reduction. I have watched this happen in clinical practice dozens of times. But here's what you need to understand. 10 days reduces inflammation. It does not cure chronic inflammatory disease that has been building for years or decades. If you have established arthritis, autoimmune disease, or cardiovascular disease, 10 days of anti-inflammatory eating will make you feel better, but it will not reverse structural damage. This protocol shows you what's possible. It demonstrates that you have direct control over your inflammatory state through food preparation, but lasting benefit requires ongoing commitment. After the initial 10 days, continue these preparation methods permanently. Make them your normal way of cooking. The turmeric fat pepper combination, the 10-minute rest for crushed garlic, the tomatoes cooked with olive oil, the gentle heat for omega-3 fish, the fresh ginger tea. These are not temporary interventions. These are permanent upgrades to your kitchen practices. How old are you? Write it in the comments. I want to see which age group makes up the majority of our viewers, because it will directly shape what I cover in future videos. Now, important medical cautions. If you are taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin or aspirin, the omega-3 fatty acids in fish can enhance their effects. This is generally beneficial, but your dosages may need adjustment. Discuss this protocol with your prescribing physician. If you have gallbladder disease or bile duct obstruction, turmeric can trigger gallbladder contractions. Consult your doctor before using therapeutic amounts. If you have upcoming surgery, stop consuming high amounts of ginger and omega-3s 1 week before the procedure, as they can affect blood clotting. If you experience severe joint pain with redness, swelling, and fever, that is not chronic inflammation. That is acute inflammatory arthritis or infection requiring immediate medical evaluation. The foods discussed today support your body's own anti-inflammatory systems. They do not replace medical care when serious conditions require professional diagnosis and treatment. Subscribe to Dr. Waterling if this information helped you understand how food preparation determines therapeutic effect. Share this video with someone you care about, a parent, a friend, someone dealing with chronic pain or inflammation. You may have just given them a real tool to reduce their suffering. The system profits from your continued dependence on anti-inflammatory medications. Nobody makes money when you learn to cook turmeric correctly or let your garlic rest for 10 minutes before cooking. That's precisely why this information remains obscure, despite decades of published research supporting every single claim I've made today. Your health is your responsibility. The knowledge exists. The choice is yours.